Good morning. This is Victoria Pendragon. Welcome to my alternate reality. I wanted to tell a story today that's probably going to take 2 episodes because the beginning of it is so fun. It's not other dimensional, but it is just fun and a nice illustration of how timing is in the world and how things work out always just the way they're supposed to. So this begins with something I discussed early on in this series, the fact that somebody had identified me as a healer, and I felt I had to go and get certified in some way, because I couldn't just tell people, come on over to my house, I got some energy. As it turns out now, I actually believe that anybody could say that, come on over to my house, I've got some energy, because it turns out, as I learned through the years, everybody does. I think that everyone has the capacity to heal without attunements of any sort. I believe that consciousness and awareness is all that's truly necessary. We all are energetic beings. We can channel energy. Attunements may help and raise the level, but we've all got it. So anyway, this begins with my quest to look professional by getting certified, which I did. And I had my first couple of attunements from a wonderful man named Scott Teeters, who now has a radio show called Far Out Radio, which is worth listening to. Wonderful show. And the 3rd level of attunement in Reiki is the master level, and I thought, well, I think I'd like to see what this feels like, this attunement thing, because it was wonderful, colors around me, and I could feel all kinds of things. I thought I'd like to see what it felt like from someone else, and specifically from another woman. I was curious. So I contacted a person who was local to me, a woman, also a healer, and she had quite a following in the area. Her name was Elizabeth Severino, and I met with her, and she insisted that I take level 2 over again. Well, with her, because for whatever reason that she wanted that from me, and I was not happy about that, but I did want this experience, and so I got the 2nd level attunement. Now, everybody doesn't want to go on to become a Reiki master. So she was a person, as many people are who do attunements, who like to work in groups. And she wanted to wait until she had more than just me to do the master attunement. And we waited, and we waited, and we waited, and we waited, and we got tired of waiting. But nobody apparently was showing up. So over a year went by, and it happened, I was visiting this area where I now live at a resort nearby called Avalon Resort, which is a clothing optional resort. And I was visiting there for Thanksgiving weekend with my then husband, Dodd. Avalon always had on staff a number of massage therapists, both male and female, for obvious reasons. And when we pulled into the parking lot very, very, very early in the morning, probably about 5 o'clock or so, we noticed a car in the parking lot with a license plate on it that said Ariane. And I thought, I guess they got a new massage therapist. Wonderful. Well, we went inside, caught a nap, and when I awoke, Dodd was there telling me that the owner of the resort wanted to introduce me to Ariane. There are a lot of healers that work at Avalon. There used to be anyway. There are still a number of massage therapists, not so many healers. And so I'm all prepared to meet this Ariane. And I walk into the dining area, which is where they both were. And I saw this woman from the back, long gray hair, long, way down past the middle of what I thought was her back. And I thought, wow, and she's big too. And I thought, well, she's probably a great massage therapist, you know, a lot of strength to put behind things. So this person was naked. The owner of the resort was naked. It's clothing optional. They had opted out. And I walked around to meet Ariane. I was introduced. Ariane stood up. I thought, wow, she's got a very hairy chest for a woman. And then my eyes wandered down a tad. But I was amazed at myself because, you know, we get something in our minds and there it is. And Ariane, I thought it was a woman. I was so convinced in my mind that it was a woman that it didn't occur to me until I saw actual genitalia that it was not a woman. However, in my favor, I later discovered why energetically Ariane might have carried that off. Later in the day, after I got over myself, I was out in the hot tub, which was then outside, and no longer is, unfortunately. Ariane was out there describing to a couple of people how he had made his way across the country by doing Reiki attunements. And my eyes lit up. And so when he was done chatting and the people had left, I said, "Are you a Reiki master?" And he said that he was. And I said, because it had started to snow, and what was going to be a fairly big weekend of people coming to celebrate Thanksgiving, clothing optional, looked like it was going to get kind of small. And he said he had nothing planned for the weekend. I said, "How'd you like to do a master attunement? I need one." And he agreed. And so the next day, the next morning, we met, whereupon he informed me that he channeled the energy of 3 different goddesses. And so I felt somewhat validated in my error of judgment. He told me that the attunement would be lengthy, that it was going to come with instructions interspersed between the attunements. And he very much had his own kind of style. The other 2 people that I had worked with, you might say, went by the book, what you would expect. Ariane did not. And was perhaps my first teacher that I ran into that was very much his own person and had made this energy his own. And I appreciated that tremendously. So we had this attunement, I learned my lessons, and interestingly, despite the fact that he was very unconventional, he had a very traditional approach to me practicing as a master, to any one of his students practicing as a master. And he told me that I would need every day for 1 month's time to do an attunement. He didn't care on what it was, but I had to do an attunement. And so he sent me off with those instructions, that after 1 month I would be ready to go. Now I've heard my little buzzer go off, so sure enough, I'm going to have to take this up on the next one. But that's a good foundation for the story. And I'll be back really in just a minute, though you won't see the next installment for a few days.